Hey, what's up? It's Shay Bay, and I am here with the legendary AJ Croce. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderfully. It's my birthday, so what could be wrong?
I
And
know. I was just about to say that. I'm like, thank you so much for talking to me on your birthday. I feel so bad taking time out of your day.
oh, are you kidding? I've got a gig tonight. I'm in Bloomington, Illinois, a beautiful old theater here. So for me, yeah, I mean, I work 7 days a week. This is just the kind of gig I have.
No, I know it never stops. So if you weren't on tour right now, how would you be celebrating your birthday?
I probably would have slept in. I would have gone for a walk. Kind of the same thing I did today. I mean, as you get older, it's just not the same thing. I don't need a pony show.
No, I get it. I get it. So you're 54 now, and
Yeah.
over the years, like over the course of music, things have definitely changed from flyers and CDs and cassettes to social media. Tell me how that's like impacted your career.
I think that the thing that impacted my career the most as far as technology goes, because that's all just about new media,
Hmm.
the actual music is not that much different, and the industry in that way is not much different, but media is certainly different. And Napster devastated the record industry. It made music free, and I think that it's one of those things when you have free streaming audio, people just don't put a value on it. They just don't think it's worth much. So though, because of that, touring became so much more essential because you didn't have the income, the passive income of album sales the way you used to. And so, that made a big difference. I mean, Spotify and YouTube, it's great for certain people, but by and large, it's pretty challenging for established artists who used to actually sell records. So, I mean, that's the negative side of it. The positive side, I think, is that as an audience, as a music fan myself, get to choose the things we want to see. It's much more egalitarian. It's one of these things where I decide what I want to listen to, as opposed to a label deciding, what I'm going to listen to, because that's the way it used to be. The big labels were the filter for their audience, and there were a lot fewer things to choose from, and now we have just a myriad of amazing things to look at, listen to, and be engaged by.
Definitely. And it feels like everybody and their mom like tries to do music now. So with you, growing up with such a background with both your parents doing music, you started piano at the age of 6.
Oh,
How do you
earlier. Yeah.
feel? Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
earlier than that. Like
Mm.
you were definitely born into music. Do you feel
Mm.
like it came naturally to you or you had some struggles with different things?
Oh, absolutely. There was an element of it that was natural, but it had to be exercised. I had to practice, 6 to 8 hours a day through most of my teen years, and even today, I still practice a couple hours a day at minimum. That's the thing you have to do. A gift is wonderful, but if you don't take advantage of that and make the most of it, then you're just going to be average or above average, and I wasn't going to settle for that. I wanted to be great at what I do.
And I think that speaks numbers about where you're at, like in your career so far. A whole bunch of people know you. Of course, they listen to your dad's music. My mom was telling me earlier today that she used to play your dad on the radio and grab a cassette and try to record it. And she was like, we'd always miss the first half of it. So that's
Yeah,
why
yeah, of course. I remember those days. Yeah.
yeah, no. So she was telling me that. So that's why I also want to bring up social media as well, because me growing up and listening to music, it's like I can have anything at the palm of my hand. So
Right.
you have definitely gone through a lot of trials and tribulations when it comes to music. What advice would you give to somebody coming into music now?
Well, I would say listen to as many different things as you can. Be really open-minded to every genre of music, whether it's old or new, whether it's jazz or blues or country or rock and roll or hip hop or R&B, whatever it is, world music. Really listen. Be open to it. Take the time to learn something about it. By being open to music, you learned to have a broader palette of colors to create with. The broader your palette is, just like a painter, the more options you have, the more directions you can go, and the more creative you can be.
Definitely. So, would you ever choose a different career if you were like, I just don't feel like doing music anymore? Do you think that would ever come?
I don't know. I don't think so. I've worn a lot of hats in this business as a
Yeah.
publisher, as a head of a record company, to indie labels, and then of course as a performing artist, and then as a songwriter for publishers. Um, Between all of those hats, I think I would probably stay in the music business. But if I had to choose another career, it would probably be as a cultural anthropologist. I'm just fascinated by history, by culture, by mythology, by fable, by religion, and by science, and just how it affects us as a species. And I love investigating our humanity as a storyteller and as a songwriter.
Yeah. And speaking of songwriting, you write a majority of your songs or almost all your songs, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you have had 11 albums. That is a lot. How do you choose what songs go on the albums? Is there anything that doesn't make it?
Yeah, lots doesn't make it. I try and write a little every day. Doesn't mean I finish a song, but get a musical idea, or I get a phrase, or I get a verse, and then things start to come together, and I think about which ones are resonating for me. That's step one. And then step two is, once I've finished a song, I like to play it for the audience, and if I'm really excited about it, I'm gonna play it. And if it connects with them, then I put a star next to it, and I know this is a possibility. um you know Probably 18 months of touring to 2 years of touring between album releases for me. There may be a single here, a single there, um, but it's about 18 months to 2 year cycle. So in that 18 months to 2 year cycle, I'm playing new stuff all the time. And audiences hear a song, they may not hear it the next time, or they may hear it the next time. I realize there's something good about it, but I need to rearrange it. I need to change the words here. I'm going to change the chorus. I'm going to do this or that. All of those factors help to decide what's going to be on the record. And then conceptually, what am I thinking? What is this about? Where's my head at any given moment? And that makes a big difference.
Are there any songs you had that you thought would do better than they actually did?
Lots of them, lots of them. I think that the songs that have the greatest potential of lasting are often the sleepers. They're the ones that no one hears when the record comes out, because they're looking for something that's high energy, and the ballads get forgotten in the mix, the more intimate songs. And I think those are the ones that have the greatest long-term potential. And they're the ones that I found in my career. From my very first record, almost 35 years ago, was this thing gets used in a film. 5 years after it came out, 10 years after it came out, all of a sudden it connects to an audience that it didn't have before. And those kind of opportunities, when they come, it's really wonderful, because to me, those are the songs that are really, really special. Like, there's a couple on this album, on Heart of the Eternal, that came out this year, that they're not the up tempo party songs, but they're intimate and they're interesting, and I put a lot into them. One of them was The Finest Line, which Margot Price came and sang on. And it was just one of those songs. It's so simple, but it took me a year to really feel good about the lyrics, because they're so simple. And the topic is this very ethereal topic. I needed it to be right. I needed to be able to know that I was communicating this idea the right way. And so stuff like that, it's just, what can you do? You have certain things about certain songs that you relate to, and maybe other people don't. What can you do?
No, definitely. And especially with performing, you have to have such a strong band behind you. A lot
Yeah.
of your bands are Grammy Award winners. How did
Yes.
you come together and pick everybody to be a part?
I like finding, there's things that I hear in musicians they may not hear in themselves. And I like mixing genres. You know, my bass player's from New Orleans. He was with Dr. John and Etta James and the Neville Brothers and Alan Toussaint and Patti LaBelle, all these great, mostly New Orleans based artists. And, you know, my drummer, he's out of Nashville, but he lived in New York for a long time and Miami, and he comes from a different school of rock and roll and funk drumming. He was with Average White Band and Blood, Sweat and Tears, among tons of different types of jazz and pop and rock and roll and country. And I just knew that the two of them would play well together. My guitar player, and who also plays violin, I met him, you know, 25 years, 30 years ago on Austin City Limits. We stayed in touch. And you know, it's one of those things where you just hear something and you're going, well, if these two people met, I think, you know, it's like being a matchmaker, right? You know,
Yeah.
like setting up friends on a blind date.
That's so fun. That's a really good way to think about it. That's how I know that you love music because it's like you're just talking about it and you're so happy and like you just like give so much vibrance when you talk about music. So I love to hear it.
Absolutely.
Yes, and you're going to be in St. Louis. That's why we're talking now. October
Yes.
1st. It is happening at the factory. The show is almost sold out now.
Yeah.
T Tell me how
Love
this
that place.
I know. It's so awesome. Tell me about your shows in St. Louis. Why do you like the crowd?
Well, you know, St. Louis just is a historic city for music. Such great music came out of St. Louis, and of course we'll pay tribute to that. You know, obviously Chuck Berry and Johnny Johnson were big influences on me early in my career as a teenager, and but there was great jazz, great blues, all kinds of history there. Miles Davis is from there. I mean, there's just so much that's good. And then I love, yeah, I'm playing in Chesterfield, which is a little outside the city, and I love
Yes.
this venue. It's really fun. We played it a couple years ago, and I really love it. But when I'm in St. Louis, which I love going for a walk on the park in that writer's park that you have that's just has so much history, and Tennessee Williams and um, and Eliot, and just like all of the amazing writers that came out of St. Louis. So for me, the history is what I love. You know, as I said, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing something with our history and our culture.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of music that came out of here. I know that we are all excited to see you. This show and this tour is a lot of tribute to your dad. What
Yes.
songs can we expect for you to play?
Well, that so depends on the audience. Yes, I'm going to play the hits. And yes, it's going to be an energetic show and it's going to be a lot of fun, but every night is different. People are coming to 3 and 4 of these shows because
Wow.
they, every night is so uniquely different. I have a framework for a set, but the band doesn't know. I don't even know necessarily before I play something what it's going to be. The audience is shouting out songs when I open the virtual request line, and they're part of it. They're part of the show, and I think that element of it and the emotion of this show, because the connection of me and my father, the two generations, the father and the son, and the stories that go along with it are really what engage the audience. It's emotional. I mean, people are laughing and they're having fun, and then they'll see something or they'll hear something and it'll resonate. It'll, you know, I think some people come to this show for nostalgia and they leave with a whole different feeling altogether.
That's so awesome. Well, I'm super excited to see it. Super excited to see you come here. I do want to ask you though, what is your favorite song to perform?
Music is like a mood. You know, I
Okay.
couldn't think of my favorite song. You wake up and you don't feel like hearing the same song every day. You know, you wake up and you think of you're in a different mood. You know, it's rainy out, the weather's different. You're thinking of a different song, and so every day is unique in that way. I just, you know, it's the favorite song is the one that makes me happy in the moment, and it's completely unpredictable. I wish I could give you a better answer, but
Today for your birthday, which one? What's going to be your favorite song to perform? Do you know?
have no idea. I haven't played yet. I'll tell you after
Okay.
the show.
Okay, well, we will definitely see it, and we're so excited to see you here October 1st. The Factory, it is going down. AJ Croce. Grab your tickets at thefactorystl.com. It's your birthday. I'm gonna let you get back to it, but thank you so much for talking to me.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. Take care.